Graham, I wanted to ask you, what do you think's going on with the quarterback position? We saw a ton of 350 plus point scores at the position, more than we had in the past half decade combined this year. Most passing touchdowns of all time, about the most rushing touchdowns of all time by quarterbacks by about 40. Do you think this is sort of an outlier season, or do you think it's going to be a changing of a guard? Do we have to start drafting quarterbacks a little bit earlier if we want one of those explosive seasons?
Yeah. So it's a changing of the guard in the sense that this is the way the game is trending. I mean, we are going to continue to see, especially with a lot of these young quarterbacks coming in with Lawrence and Fields, we're going to see a lot more rushing production just naturally coming into the game. I mean, a lot of these guys coming in from like even high school, I mean, they've been trained as RPO quarterbacks where we're going to space you out. You're going to make one read, and if it's not there, you're going to run basically. This is the new NFL. 100%. This is the new NFL, and that's basically what Kyler Murray is. I mean, he's a one read, and if it's not there, I'm going to run quarterback, and it works amazingly for fantasy. I think this is something JJ Zacharyson has touched on, and he is obviously the legendary late round quarterback guy.
Next week's guest.
Yeah, we got him coming on next week. Cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, can't wait. There you go. You'll have to ask him the same question because I'm interested to see what he says too. But
we're asking everybody this one.
Yeah, man. I think it's going to start trending towards, and this is something I adjusted for this past year. It's going to start trending towards like kind of like a middle round quarterback type of thing. Because my top two quarterbacks this year for my teams were I wanted Josh Allen or I wanted Dak Prescott at a discount. Obviously Prescott didn't work out because he got hurt, but it would have worked out. I mean, 100% would have worked out. I liked Kyler.
It still worked out.
Yes, exactly. I liked Kyler too, but he was always going just a little bit ahead of where I wanted to go. But yeah, I think, broadly this past year, because of COVID, we saw defenses, man, they really rely on communication. And in the off season, and you get all those reps in the off season between just kind of the normal walkthrough stuff before you start putting the pads on in training camp. And then you get the actual training camp reps. I think we saw early in the year, I mean, overs were just getting completely obliterated because defenses just had no answers. I mean, how many times did we see the Saints blow a coverage? And by the end of the year, that was completely stopped. I mean, the Saints were one of the top 5 secondaries in the league again. I mean, early in the year, we really saw defenses struggling, and I think it all came down to communication. Like they just didn't have the reps like they normally would. So I think that was a big part of the reason we saw quarterback scoring explode. I mean, I think that was a part of the reason Russell Wilson had such a monster first half of the year, and then teams started figuring out that passing offense and basically figuring out, hey, Russell Wilson's going to throw deep, 20% of the time, and we can play cover 3 and just try to take it away. Yeah, I think this year was an outlier year in the way that defenses just didn't have the time to prep it. And overall perspective, like running quarterbacks are 100% where you have to look for your fantasy quarterback, because at this point, Tom Brady threw nearly 40 touchdowns this year, whatever it was. I mean, I think he almost threw 40 touchdowns, and he was basically like a back end. Yeah, he threw exactly 40 touchdowns, I think, actually. 40, yeah. He was basically a back-end QB1, and he doesn't run the ball. I mean, that's what we're looking at. You've got to have somebody like Aaron Rodgers who throws 50 touchdowns and barely basically runs to have a top 5, top 6 quarterback if you don't have a running guy.
So you need like almost that 4,500 yards plus 35 passing touchdowns or 40 touchdowns.
It's crazy, man.
4,000. It really is. And I think you hit on so many good things there. Number one, I think what we're getting from a lot of these smart people like yourself is that we're seeing this bottleneck effect where it is kind of it's just a manifestation of what we've seen from the game with the quarterbacks. And this year it seemed to spill over probably because of, in large part, a lack of that continuity that no defense was able to have. So much coaching turnover in flux with that. So many good points there. And I think what we'll end up doing is kind of what you alluded to. Like, we'll go to the back end of those tiers like you did with Josh Allen, and you identify the guys that have a similar profile, have that upside, but you're getting at a round or 2 discount in your fantasy draft. So I think that's what we're going to do this year for sure.